Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ashley and today I really just wanted to sit down and play with some makeup. I am in such a good mood today, even though I have had so little sleep over the past couple of weeks. I don't know what's gone into the girls, but they have stopped sleeping through the night. They regularly wake up anytime between 3 and 4 a.m. As much as I try to get to them before whichever one wakes the other one up, it just doesn't work. So I am usually up from about 3:30 on until about 6 and then get back up at 7. So sleep has been in short supply, but today I'm still in a really good mood. The weather outside is amazing. It is cool and lovely, and I'm looking forward to going outside with the kids a little bit later. But while everyone is sleeping, I want to play with makeup. A few weeks ago, I did make an Ulta purchase using points. I talked about a couple of the things from that purchase, but one of them I have not, and that is this right here. This is the Too Faced Pumpkin Spice eyeshadow palette. They started releasing these more Thanksgiving type themed palettes back in 2018, and I do have the original release from that. That's just their regular gingerbread spice palette. If you've seen my panning those eyeshadows project, this is no stranger. I do have a shadow that I'm currently working on from it, and I do really like this eyeshadow palette. Last year they released the gingerbread extra spicy, I think is what it was called. I didn't pick that one up. It didn't have the type of colors that I was really looking for at that point in time. But this year I liked the pumpkin spice palette. However, upon receiving it and opening it up, I think I liked it in the promo photos better. I really picked it up predominantly for these shadows right here. I have talked about before that I've just been in this mood for mustardy, olivey toned shadows, and in the promo pictures, these look like they fit the bill. In person though, they are definitely much more muted and much more on the gold warm brown side. So that is kind of a disappointment. I also really was intrigued with this lower, oh, I just dragged my fingernail through that. That was special. These shades down here, these purple shades, because I love a good purple eyeshadow. So it's not a total loss, but just be aware if you're like me and you saw those promo pictures and thought, yes, give me some green. I don't know that this is going to really do it for you. And especially right now, since many of us are not actually going out and viewing things in person and shopping in stores, we're relying completely on photos from online sources. So just be aware. I'm also going to play around a little bit more with that Uma Beauty foundation from the same purchase. So we'll talk about that, and I'll tell you how I was scammed on the internet. So let's go ahead, zoom in much closer on my face, start working with my eyes, and get to it. Alrighty, here we are zoomed in. Hopefully we're not too close, but I did want to make sure that you get a good view of my eyes since we are going to be doing the eyeshadow first. I do typically apply eyeshadow first because I am not that great at it, and so this allows me to clean up any fallout, clean up where I overblend the edges, things like that. So it is just much easier for me, and I'm thinking I want to do a type of look that's a little bit out of the box for me. I have been watching a ton of Instagram lately, and I'm thinking an all matte look. I know, I never do those. So what I'm thinking is that I want to play with these, let's see, how can I do this without blinding you? These shadows right here. So this orange and this pink and this mustard and this sort of deeper purple. I'm kind of thinking that's what I want to do, and we'll see if I can pull it off. I've already primed my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot in Painterly, and then just set that down all over the lid with just a cream colored powder, and I want to do my actual crease first and then blend up and out from there is what I'm thinking. So I am going to start with this beautiful sort of bright pink right here in You Spicy. Yeah, You Spicy. So let's talk about internet scams. I did fall for one. And it's stupid because I'm usually very smart about these things, but I did let myself get sucked in. So a little bit of backstory. At the beginning of this quarantine period, so back in March, I was looking at swing sets because I needed something for our son to do. We had thought about getting him one for his birthday last year, and to be honest with you, I don't know why we didn't. But I knew that he was going to be spending a lot of time indoors. I was very heavily pregnant at the time, so I didn't think that I was going to be able to go outside with him much, which, by the way, I was correct in that. And the weather was starting to get nicer. It just seemed like a good idea. So I started researching them then. And honestly, that's part of what makes this story so much more frustrating for me. But I was looking at different ones, and I was nervous about not just purchasing one, because if you've ever looked at like nice swing sets, they are not cheap. They are not cheap at all. But with it just being me and my husband during this quarantine, I was also nervous about getting it put together. That is no small task either. And so I had reached out to a girlfriend of mine because she has a nicer swing set in her backyard. And I was like, hey, when you got your swing set, did you put it together or did you pay for somebody else to, like, professional installation? She was like, well, that is probably more expensive than the actual swing set if you do that. My dad put mine together. And I was like, of course he did, because her dad is super duper handy. And I kind of had a suspicion, but I figured I'd ask. So, okay, I'm going to stop there for a second. I did lay down a ton of You Spicy. And then I'm going to take Ginger Spice, which is the beautiful orange right above it. And I'm going to go a little bit higher on my crease. And then at the very, very top, I'm going to take Pumpkin Spice right there and just sort of blend all of them together is my idea. So I kind of had a suspicion that her dad was the one that him and like a buddy of his had put together their swing set. But so she knew that I was on the hunt and that I was looking at a lot of different ones. And so that is kind of the backstory. Flash forward to a few weeks ago now, she sends me a text and she's like, hey, did you ever find a swing set? And I was like, no. And now that it's getting close to his birthday and the weather is cooling down a little bit, you know, I'm definitely looking again. So she said, well, I found a sale. I was like, a sale? Sales are good. So she sends me this link. And one of the swing sets that I had been looking at was incredibly marked down. All right, so I'm probably in a little bit of a different position. My toddler woke up incredibly early from his nap again. So had to go get him all happy and calm down and stuff like that. So I am back again, and we're gonna go ahead and work with, again, this shade Pumpkin Spice above the two shades that we've already put on there. And back to my story. So I think I was saying that a friend of mine reached out to me and there was a swing set that I had been looking at that was on a major, major discount. And I was thrilled. And mind you, I think part of the reason that I was not as skeptical as I should be was because I'm exhausted and I just really, really wanted it to be legit, which is stupid. Don't do that. If it seems too good to be true, it is. It always is. Like, come on, I know better. But I clicked on the link and it was at, as I said, a major discount. Showed it to my husband. He was, of course, in the middle of working, so he didn't look at it very closely and just sort of took my word for it. I took my friend's word for it, and I bought it. Yep, sure did. And of course, as soon as like I go ahead and I create a login, thankfully I had enough presence of mind to create a brand new username and password, as opposed to like what most of us do and have the same password for literally everything. So thankfully I had that presence of mind, but I of course entered in my credit card information, mailing address, all of the stuff that you would normally put in when you buy stuff online. And I was super excited, and I even was stupid enough to tell the child, I just ordered something awesome for your birthday. Because I was excited. And I think part of it was I was just so thrilled to be able to do something awesome for my kid. And I think a lot of us probably fall into that, whether it's our child, our significant other, a sibling, a parent, whatever it is, someone that you really genuinely love and cherish, and you want to be able to do something amazing for them, and you just get psyched. So I'm going to go ahead and put Cocoa Drizzle, which is this shade right here, all over my lid. So I'm all excited, and then I get the confirmation email. And this is where I was like, oh, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Because it came from a weird email address. And this brand that I was supposed to have been ordering from, I mean, it's a big name brand. It's Little Tykes. Like, you know, they have their own, like, system, right? They're not going through somebody else. It's not like a proxy or anything like that. If you're buying from Little Tykes, you're getting correspondence from Little Tykes. So the confirmation email felt sketchy, and I just felt the pit of my stomach just drop out, because I was like, this wasn't real. This wasn't real. So I take it up to my husband. I'm like, I don't feel good about this. I forwarded you my confirmation email. Take a look at it. So he does. He looks at it. He's like, yeah, that's sketch. That is so sketchy. So one Google search later, this is a pretty common scam with specifically Little Tykes. And I was like, well, damn. I don't usually swear, but yeah, I was really just feeling stupid. And then to make matters, you know, even more concrete, when I looked at my pending charges, the charge, while the dollar amount was in the right vicinity, it wasn't completely correct. And it said cloth apparel. No, that was not right. So I called my credit card company, told them what happened. They canceled the charge. They shut down my credit card and issued me a new one. I texted my friend. I was like, so that playset, that was probably a scam. And she's like, really? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, it was given to me by a friend of mine. I was like, you may want to reach out to that friend, because I don't know what kind of scam this is, but this is not legit. There's no reason that Little Tykes would come up on my credit card statement as a pending charge labeled cloth apparel. So I go through all this rigmarole, get everything canceled and everything, and I thought that that was the end of it. But it's not. It's not. So I still continue to get emails from this, you know, confirmation service. And they're like, hey, we're working on your order. Hey, here's a tracking number. Click on this link. I did not click on the link, but I did copy the tracking number and then just Googled a couple of different services like FedEx, UPS, DHL, all that kind of stuff. And it was a live tracking number through USPS. And so I was like, all right, keep an eye on this. So I'm following it over the next like week and a half, and it arrived. I was like, okay. There's nothing like out in my yard, or I mean something of like that size would be something you'd have to sign for. It would be like an entire delivery process, even if we were the ones putting it together. And so, so I go out to the mailbox, and it's in my mailbox. And I saw it, and I just started cracking up. And you know, my husband, we've been talking about this as it's been going on. I was like, oh honey, we're in for a treat. Our playground arrived. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah. You want to see the box? Yep, that's what the box size was. I was like, this is gonna be a treat. So I opened it up, and I'm now the new proud owner of what have to be total knockoff Ray-Bans, which fit surprisingly well. So, folks at home, friends, don't click on links. If you see a $1,200 playset that has been marked down by probably, what, more than 99% at that point, it's not real, but you might get a pair of knockoff Ray-Bans out of the deal. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and jump off camera. I'm going to clean up where I overblended, zoom you guys out just a touch, and then we'll go ahead and we'll apply my foundation, because I do definitely want to talk to you and update you a little bit about the Uma foundation, and then we'll finish up the look from there. Okay, so here we are back. I pulled back my bangs and cleaned up around my eyes, and I have to say I'm actually pretty impressed with myself because I didn't go as crazy as I normally do, and I feel like that is making progress. I'm trying really hard to get a little bit more refined in my technique. I still have a long way to go. I'm by no means a professional makeup artist, but I do think that my skills are improving some, which is exciting. So let's talk about the Uma Beauty foundation that I tested out with you guys a couple of videos ago. So when I first tested it out, it was incredibly liquidy, and it didn't have nearly the amount of coverage that I would have expected based on the description that the box had. And this foundation is very interesting. It reminds me a lot of mascara. There's some mascaras that when you first put it on, it's kind of lackluster, but after it's been open for a couple of weeks, it transforms into something awesome. I feel like that's what this did. So I have already shaken it, and I just want to kind of do, again, kind of pump a little bit onto my little plate. As you can see, it's considerably thicker than it was the first time that I used some, because when that came out the first time, it was very, very liquidy. So I am only going to start with a pump because, guys, this has transformed itself into a much more full coverage sort of foundation, and I feel like this is all that I need. I've been playing with it over the past couple of weeks since filming that video, and I have more feelings. So, like, if you saw that video, you could still see all of my skin still peeking through, and now I think you can see the coverage is much more substantial. I am debating on this particular shade right here. This is still the lightest shade, the T1N, but I did also pick up the next shade in the range, which is T2N, and I do think that that is a much better color match for me. But I've been trying to mix this with a couple of different foundations that I have that are too dark, because oftentimes, for me at least, even when I pull for the lightest shade in a range, it's still too dark for me because I am so fair. So I'm trying to see if there's something that this can mix with that will make it worth me keeping. Otherwise, I may just go ahead and return it. I just hate returning things because I know it just goes directly into a landfill, and I hate that. I mean, I understand why it is the case, but I don't like contributing to that if I can avoid it. But I do like it quite a bit more. Well, I don't want to say that. It's definitely meeting more of the expectations that I had for it now that it's kind of thickened up a little bit. So this is just one pump for me, and as you can tell, it has really, really nice coverage at this point. It is only just a hair too light, to be honest with you, so it is still workable. It may be my winter shade. I've never had summer and winter shades before, if we're being very honest, but But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of update you and kind of show you what the foundation is looking like right now. I am going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup real quickly. I'll probably either cut it out or just speed through it because you guys don't care about that. And then we'll just sort of finish up the look a little bit. Alrighty, so here we are back again. I have all of my face makeup done. As always, everything that I've applied will be in the description box below, but I'm really liking the way that this is at the moment, and I'm hoping I don't screw it up. So we are gonna work on the lower lash line. As much as I can, I'm going to try to recreate most of what we have going on up on the top of my lashes, on the top of my lid, along the lower lash line as well. So I'm gonna take this just flat brush and I'm gonna go in to that bright pink shade that we started with, You Spicy, which I will probably always say it that way because that is just such a great name. And I'm gonna push that as close as I can to my lower lash line. Again, hoping that I don't absolutely screw everything up. And of course, making the weirdest face possible while doing it, and trying not to cover myself up as well. Okay, step one completed. Okay, and then taking, again, just kind of a pointy but fluffier brush, I'm gonna go into Ginger Spice and put that just below the You Spicy. Kind of blend those two together and a little bit outwards. And of course, connecting it to the top where I can. Okay, and then finally, with another sort of pointy brush, I'm gonna go back into Pumpkin Spice, that really just beautiful orangey yellow shade. And just going even lower and blending it into the orange Ginger Spice shade. All right, I feel somewhat successful. I think it got a touch muddy, but I think it kind of worked. You tell me, do you prefer it before or after I messed with it? I think though, I kind of want to take just a clean fluffy brush and see if I can just blend it a little bit because I feel like it's looking a little heavy. Improvement? I hope so. Okay. We're also going to do something a little bit crazy because the shades that are in here are not what I would personally use as an inner corner highlight. So we're just gonna go in the opposite direction and we're gonna take this shade Want a Piece of Me. We're gonna use that as an inner corner highlight. It's a metallic purple, which I'm hoping will play off of the fuchsia that we used and not look completely crazy. I think that's okay. This is definitely a crumblier shade than I was expecting. But I think it has enough silver to it that I think that it works. What do you think? Good? All right, so the last thing I'm gonna do, and I'll probably speed it up a little bit, is I'm gonna apply some brown eyeliner to my waterline. This is my Marc Jacobs highliner in the shade Rococo. And then we'll do some lips. And we're gonna change mirrors because I don't love the mirror in this. It's got, you know, a shape around it. I much prefer just a regular good big mirror, so we're gonna do that instead. Ooh, we got some fallout, see? Need to be able to see that. Better. Sorry, you probably couldn't see my face. All right. The last thing we're going to do is, of course, lips. So I didn't purchase the new, what am I trying to say? The new Melted Matte lipstick for this year. It's in the shade Pumpkin Spice, Pumpkin Spice. But I do have the mini version that came out 2 years ago in their little 4-set pack, sorry. So I'll go ahead and put that on just to sort of complete the fall look. I will say I do love this formula. Alrighty, and there we have it. This is definitely a very out of the box look for me, but I'm digging it. I am digging it. I am definitely, as I said, trying to step out of my comfort zone a little bit and do things that are different. All right, so rambling. All right, so again, here is the final look, and I want to know what you think. Do you like this look? Do you like this style of video? Do you like this palette? Do you want to see more with it? And are you going to be picking it up as well? As always, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Bye.